hour, Mr. James A. Zimmerman. I guess it's true that when you own your own dinner theater, you can't have dinner without a show. Yes, it's also true that one of the fringe benefits of owning that same theater is you can pull from your pool of slave labor and get those monkeys dance when you wish. So that's what this is. So now that you've had your fill of food and wine, this is where the show officially begins. And so tonight, that show comes to you in the form of a good old-fashioned roast. You already guessed it. This dumbass was out here listening to everything we were saying before. He was like, am I being roasted tonight? You liked it, didn't you? We'll see how it goes. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome you to the first annual St. Croix Off-Broadway Celebrity Roast of Mr. Jim Zimmerman. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe Keith. I'm one of Jim's former students. I met Jim 20 years ago this fall. 20 years ago, that's a long time. Seriously. My very first show under Jim Zimmerman was The Importance of Being Earnest. Jim actually convinced me to come to auditions at callbacks. I was one of his acting students, and they had already done the first 2 nights of auditions, and he goes, I don't like anybody that's there. Can you go to audition? I had just transferred after 2 years at Moorhead State, so I didn't know anybody yet, and this was the way that Jim decided that I would make some friends. Just come to callbacks. We'll cast you as the lead. I don't know how that played out. Anyway, as Wilde so eloquently stated in the play, the truth is rarely pure and never simple. Now, I found those words to ring particularly clear to me as I sat down and began to write about how to sum up the man that we are here to honor tonight. So then I thought of another quote from another one of Jim's big mentors, Noel Coward. You like Noel Coward, don't you? Yeah, well, I thought so. Noel said that it is discouraging how many people are shocked by honesty and how few by deceit. But then again, he also said that a good friend will stab you in the front. So with that, let us begin your celebrity roast. So what can you say about a man who is admired and revered and loved by everyone? That's clearly not the man that we're honoring here tonight. So. Jim, you should know, though, that we've received a number of congratulatory emails. Most of them congratulating themselves for not being able to be here tonight. I'll never forget the first time that I met Jim, but I'm hoping therapy will be able to help that. Actually, the first time that I actually understood what Jim and I's relationship was going to be was actually in our third show together. We'd done 2 shows, so I started to shave off some of the skin there and started to figure out who he was. It was Joseph an Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That show had 33 kids, 33 students, and just as many. Usually at that point it was still 2-parent household, so there were 2 parents for every child up in the house. And we were rehearsing one particular night. Close every door was on the agenda. So 32 adults and 33 kids are sitting up center. I'm sitting down right. Jim is across from the orchestra pit, guardrail there. We had the thrust dropped so that the orchestra was down. And just as many parents were out in the audience. It kind of seemed like we were rehearsing in the middle of the midway of the state fair. But Jim decides that this is a teaching and directing moment. I'm clearly not getting the song as he wants it to come across. So he starts saying to me, do you understand what you're saying? And I can't hear what the hell he's saying. There's so much buzz in the auditorium that I don't have any idea what he's saying. So it's like a prayer. I shake my head, I have no idea what you're saying. It's like a prayer, he says a little bit louder. I still have no idea what you're saying. So at that point, I'm thinking he's reading his lips. In underwear? Are you making a joke at the point? I'm going to be wearing a loincloth at some point. I get it. No. But then he realizes that I don't understand what the hell he's saying. He's starting to get frustrated himself with the actual level of volume in the crowd, and he doesn't want to freak out yet. But then he had one of those moments where you're in a dance club, and you're already yelling at the top of your lungs, and then the music stops. Just at that moment when he yells, "You're talking to God!" Everybody in the house, everybody backstage turns and looks at Jim, and I said, "Geez, Jim, I thought we were on a first-name basis, but now I know how to dress your ass properly." analytical guy. It takes him 60 minutes to watch, or 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes. Wow, I blew that old joke. I want a bigger kicker. There we go. All right. Where are we? He's the kind of guy who's always got his ear to the ground. But enough about his drinking problem. He's the kind of people enjoy running into, especially when they're driving. And I think the first joke you ever told me, which is ironic, is that you put the fun in dysfunctional. Should have known at that point what I was getting myself into. Seriously though, Jim, you've accomplished a lot over the course of your career. And it must be nice to sit there and reflect back on it thinking, I've got so much of my life behind me. Now I can joke for days, believe me, I've been saving these up for 20 years or so. But none of us can truly figure out Jim. Not even his psychologist wife. I'm sure whatever it is that's wrong with him, it's hard to pronounce and untreatable. And speaking of untreatable, it's time for me to introduce our first roaster, Mr. Bill Kerbeling. Yes. Now this guy used to have a handle on sanity, but it broke. Bill is one of those guys who always speaks his mind, which explains the long silences. If you've ever had a conversation with him, you'll know that he's the master of the conspiracy theory. He knows that he's got the dirt on everyone. He knows the real situation about what's happened with everything. And Bill, as an open-minded person, I've got to say that I've always tried to see things from your perspective. But honestly, I can't stick my head up my ass that far. So. Without any further ado, please welcome Mr. Bill Kerbeling.
Thanks, Joe. Everybody, let's give it for Joe. Joe is awesome. We're actually really good friends, so I can take a little ribbing from him. Joe, for those of you who don't know, I have a couple albums on iTunes, and Joe has sang on one of them, and actually rapped. And for those of you that don't know, Joe used to be a hip-hop artist.
Come on!
Hit the button. I didn't hit it up. Hello. There we go, we're back. I just killed that joke. So yeah, Joe used to be a hip-hop artist, and he went by the name of Storm. That's what he had, everybody. Really? That's what you got? Storm?
Clearly he's never slept with me.
No, I'm pretty sure the only winter blowing is coming out of your ass. Which is funny because Bob, Joe's business partner Bob, was just on the city pages under the name of Hurricane. So I'm seeing a trend in the names here, a lot of blowing going on. Is there something you're trying to tell us? No, actually, Joe was in the first show that I was in here at John Denver. And Joe did a lot for me. He took me under his wing. I came in as a musician. I was a bass player. It was my first time on stage at theaters. So I owe a lot to Joe. He took me in. He showed me that I too could be a part of theater and get divorced as well. Okay, all right, enough about Joe. We're on to Jim's retirement. All right. Man, it's about time, Jim. You are a fossil. Jim is so old, he had to put his name on his own license plate just so he could remember where he was. I mean, come on. And still he parks it right out front. For those of you who don't know, Jim plans to spend his retirement opening a jar. So, my next show here was in Righteous, and Jim came to me and wanted me to put a band together. He wanted this to be a band. So being a professional musician, I told him, I said, Jim, for us to be a band, it's going to require a few things. We're going to need lots of alcohol, we're going to have time to jam with each other, and at least one TV is going to have to go out the window of the hotel. Which gets me to thinking about the motto of the dinner theater, which I really don't know if you came up with this. The more you drink, the better we are. Was that you? Well, starting with my first show, I didn't know that that was for the audience. But I went with it, you know. But thank God you got Jill there reminding me, hey guys, we got a matinee, don't get too crazy. But I found that to not be always true because as you guys just saw a little snippet of the current show breaking up, I saw it too. I drank that whole show and it sucked. Hated it. Now everything was good, but the script. No, actually with the show, Jim really showed that he has the amazing ability to polish a turd. Okay, so anyway, we'll take a break from Jim. I won't read it too much. We'll go around. We got most of the cast up here from the show breaking up. Where should I start? Let's go with Wayne here.
Hurry up.
Huh?
It's getting hot, so hurry up.
All right. Okay, so Wayne's here. Wayne is in the show. As you've seen, Wayne did a great job. It's my first time seeing Wayne